Hey guys, welcome to the Adonis podcast live stream. We're live here on TikTok, and today I'm reviewing the Brett Cooper show. But I'm reviewing something specific. So recently, the movie Supergirl came out. I have the cup right here. I went to go see it. Now, like the Superman movie that came out last year, there were a bunch of Republicans who were complaining that the movie was woke, but could not describe exactly what was woke about the movie. And one of those people who accused the movie of being woke before it even came out was Brett Cooper herself. She's gone as far as to say that Millie Alcock, the actress who plays Supergirl, is the next Rachel Zegler who played and wokified Snow White. Now, let me point out a few things before we officially get started. This is my first time watching this episode, so this is going to be my live and honest reaction and review to the whole thing. First of all, Brett does not know what she's talking about when it comes to superheroes. Because last year when she did her Superman episode, it was very clear she had no clue what the fuck she was talking about. She also admitted on an off-topic discussion that she went dressed as Poison Ivy one year for Halloween, but it was a last-minute Halloween costume and she had no idea who Poison Ivy was. How do you not... You don't need to be a DC fan to know who Poison Ivy is. It's a very popular character. Yeah, you're an idiot. So, and this is a direct result of Brett not doing her research too, because, see, her content mostly results in pop culture and politics. I don't watch her pop culture episodes. I watch her political episodes. And she does her research into that. She does her research when it comes to celebrity gossip and pop culture as well. I don't watch those episodes, and lately that's all she's been putting out, so I haven't been watching a lot of her content. The only people who give a fuck about celebrity drama are losers and women. And all women are losers anyway, so that's a given. But when it came to DC, she just didn't do her research. She just bought into everyone else's opinion. And I know I'm a Republican myself, but I'm sorry, when it comes to this new DC era being woke, everyone is just plain wrong. You know, the only era of DC that was truly woke was the Arrowverse. The show Arrow wasn't woke, but every show after that was woke. The Supergirl show with Melissa Benoist had transgender and forced racism and segregation. The Flash had gayness and all kinds of woke garbage. No, someone's trying to... So someone's trying to get me to join the live stream. I'm not, no. I'm busy. Black Lightning and Batwoman are woke shows. Pretty much every show from the Arrowverse but Arrow either started woke from the beginning or started normal and then became woke. Cooper doesn't want to talk about the fact that Melissa Benoist's Supergirl was woke because it literally has transgenderism, racism, and segregation and a bunch of problems that, for example, in the show Supergirl, Martian Manhunter goes by the secret identity of a black man named Hank Henshaw. And he complained that he's had a hard time through life, not only as an alien from another planet, but also as a black man. When I saw that, I couldn't help but think how stupid that was. Because Martian Manhunter can shapeshift into anyone he wants to. Hank Henshaw is a real person. At least in that universe, he's portrayed as a real person. No one knows who Martian Manhunter really is because he shapeshifts himself into a human to disguise the fact that he's a Martian. Number two, if you can shapeshift and mimic whoever you want to be, and you're having a hard time as a black person, you can transform into literally anyone else. And maybe the reason why he got hate is not because he was disguised as a black man, but because Hank Henshaw is a real person who is also a fucking criminal. Stop inviting me. People keep trying to get me to leave my live stream. no one seems to be able to explain exactly why this new DC is woke, and James Gunn is the complete opposite of woke. I mean, if you watch James Gunn's Peacemaker, they literally go to a Nazi-invaded Earth where they hate black people. And, James Gunn directed Guardians of the Galaxy, which wasn't woke. He got fired from Marvel and Disney because he wasn't woke enough. If you watch Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker, Supergirl, it's not woke at all. Matter of fact, it is the complete opposite. And I just saw Supergirl in theaters last week in 3D. I got the popcorn bucket, not the Lobo popcorn bucket. That was way too small. I got a typical tin, which I like because it has a lid that you can use to seal it shut. I swear to God. Wasn't woke at all. The Supergirl movie, was honestly a 10 out of 10. I would go watch it again. I will be watching it again when it comes out digitally. And if you really think about it, first of all, it's based off of the comic Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Secondly, it is a beautiful and compelling story about a woman who travels across the entire galaxy to rescue her dog. Also, speaking of Woman of Tomorrow, I haven't read the book, but I have the book, and I'm planning to read it. I have the book on an app called DC Universe, also known as DC Infinite. It's an app where you pay a monthly subscription, and you can read all the DC comics you want. What's up? But you can read all the DC comics you want. And you have a free subscription, so in response to Brett Cooper not doing her research, she literally could have signed up for a free subscription. She could have done a week trial of DC Infinite and literally read Woman of Tomorrow or any other Supergirl comics, and she would have quickly realized that she is completely wrong. Anyway, let's review this episode and see what her take is on this. Now, what happened to the audio?
Have another Rachel Zegler on our hand.
You do that recording?
Yeah.
Guys, I hate to inform you, but we might just have another Rachel Zegler on our hands. I mean, the mouth movements, the less than PR trained red carpet answers, a just utter disdain for men and the people who love the projects that they're making. She has it all, and she is Supergirl. Now, obviously, we need to talk about what's going on with her, but what I really want to talk about is Hollywood's terrible track record of blaming their audiences for their failures. Now, before we dive into that, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you've not already. And of course, if you want to stay up to date on every single thing we upload to this channel, make sure to ring that notification bell. Alright, so James Gunn's new Supergirl movie, a follow-up to Superman from last summer. They kind of have some crossover action there. It is hitting theaters this week, I believe, on the 26th, and they have a lead actress problem. And the actress in question is Amelia. She is from House of the Dragon. She was also in Sirens, which I believe came out in 2024, maybe? I watched it last year. It was fabulous. I think that she is a really good actress, but that is what she is really known for. And this new film is based on a 2021 comic by the same name. And if, Superman was raised on hope and positivity and American values and positivity by those two Kansas farmers, then Supergirl is the exact opposite. She survived the destruction of her planet. She's emotionally scarred, she's hardened, and she's a drunk. She's a drunk. Weird. And honestly, guys, I watched the trailer when all of this started to blow up online. I think it looks cool. I really don't know much about it. You guys know I'm not the biggest superhero person. I did watch Superman, though. I have no qualms about what I'm seeing in the trailer. It is supposedly like Mad Max meets Superman, but with a female heroine trying to save her dog. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments whether you were excited about this or whether there is a problem that I am missing, but that is not what I am here to talk about today. Now, when this was announced, what I will say is that people were not so unsure about her casting, mainly because of her looks compared to other actresses who played Supergirl in the past. I think, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, so you think I'm ugly?
But Millie Alcock, she took that to mean that people were upset because she was a woman. And this is where things started to go south online. So in a Vanity Fair interview from earlier this year, she said this. The author wrote, "Has the famously fickle Game of Thrones fandom prepared Alcock for the inevitable backlash that she'll face? Question mark. Quote, it definitely made me aware that simply...
Now, here's something I want to point out. We've known that Alcock was going to play Supergirl since Superman came out, because at the very end of Superman, she storms into the Fortress of Solitude all drunk, and people got excited because not only did we get to see Supergirl at the end of Superman, but it also revealed a comic-accurate outfit where she was wearing a trench coat over her supersuit, like she is on the top here. Which, by the way, people were complaining. This cup is from AMC. People were complaining that they didn't like this cup because of the trench coat. I love this cup because of the trench coat. I swear, some of you people just complain just for the mere sake of complaining. I genuinely don't understand these kind of people. But anyway, so we've known that Supergirl was going to be played by Millie Alcock for over a year now. Everyone was super excited. Up until the last week before Supergirl came out, suddenly Alcock got hate out of nowhere and people were calling her ugly. She's not.
Existing as a woman in that space is something that people comment on. We've become very comfortable having this weird ownership of women's bodies. I really can't stop them. I can only be myself. What does that even mean? Like, we are decades into this feminism nonsense, and I still don't get it. But the thing is, I don't think they really know what they're saying either. Like, we have this weird ownership. You're not the first person who said it. You're like the 10 millionth, and we still don't know what it means. Existing in what space as a woman, Hal?
I actually agree with Cooper here, because honestly, Supergirl is getting a lot of hate right now. It's plummeted at the box office. It's getting horrible reviews. And let me just point out, don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes or any movie review service for that matter, because they are always 100% wrong. Anura got an award, and it was a horrible movie. The Substance got an award. I just recently saw that. Worst horror movie I've ever seen. At least this year, because I've seen some pretty shitty horror movies. But The Substance wasn't even a horror movie. It was more about Margaret Qualley shaking her ass for the camera than it was about any horror movie or horror related or horror anything. It was horrible. Horrible movie. Supergirl's getting horrible reviews, and it was an excellent movie, 10 out of 10. So don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes or anyone who reviews movies. If you want to know what's a good movie, listen to me. I'm honest. I'll give you my honest opinion. I actually know my shit. What's going on here? So if you want an honest movie review, listen to me. But all these Hollywood fucks who give their opinions, they're wrong. 100% of the time, they're always wrong. I think the reason why Supergirl plummeted is not because it was a bad movie, because it's not a bad movie, but I think it was the actress, Millie Alcock, going on a role and taking it upon herself to claim that Supergirl would be an LGBTQ character. That's not true at all. Supergirl's never been LGBTQ or gay. She's canonically a straight woman. Even in the wokeified show Supergirl on CW, while other characters were gay and transgender and woke, Supergirl herself always remained a straight woman throughout the entirety of the show. So I think when you have the lead actress who's playing the main character of this movie, for whatever stupid reason, decided to falsely inform everyone that Supergirl would be a gay character, that automatically is going to make people not want to go see the movie. People don't want to watch anything woke. It's been historically... Name one movie or TV show that either was woke or got wokeified that actually succeeded. You take a show that's been woke from the beginning, like She-Hulk, instant failure. You take an ongoing series that they later wokeify, like Star Wars or Marvel, it starts to fail over time. People don't want to see woke. The only people who want to see woke shit are the liberals who dye their hair a million colors and wear a million mouth beads and protest about politics that they know nothing about in the streets. These people are insignificant and useless to society. Their opinions do not matter.
Hollywood existing as a woman in a female-led superhero movie, I do not even know. If you can explain it to me, that would be great. The other thing that I want to say, it feels like common sense, it's like Captain Obvious here, but obviously, if you are in Hollywood, people are going to comment on you. They are going to comment on you if you are an actress and they are paying to watch you in a movie or a TV show in a franchise that they love. Like, that's kind of the whole gig. And even removing the audience aspect of it as an actor, you literally live and die for approval. If people don't like you, you don't get jobs. It's not just based on talent or merit alone. You have to walk into a room, captivate them. You are literally auditioning desperate to make people like you. It's Hollywood, baby. And so you're living and dying for that. You don't work if people don't love you. And yet at the same time, because you get rejected 99% of the time that you audition, you also have to let that roll off your back and let it not impact you in the slightest. It's like this twisted dichotomy. Like, no wonder people in Hollywood go insane, but that simply is the fact of the matter when you are in that industry. So why are all of these people getting so wound up about the audiences? Anyway, moving on from that, after she made that comment in Vanity Fair, people obviously picked up on it. They started.
Another reason why I don't like Hollywood, what she said here is 100% correct. In Hollywood, you have to, on one hand, ignore that hate because you'll always have haters, but then on the other hand, you have to make yourself be liked because then you don't get jobs. That would be like, okay guys, listen, I'm one of the most hated people on the internet, but I can still go out and get a job, which, by the way, when people say, oh, you need to watch what you do on social media because you're a prospective employer, I honestly don't think that employers give a shit what you post online. Because if that were the case, based on how most people react to my content, I think I would quite literally be unhireable. And that's not the case, so. See, a normal job, you can be liked or disliked. You can still go out and get a normal job, but in Hollywood, it's like, you have to be liked. Sydney Sweeney is a perfect example of this. Right now, she's not getting, her last job was Euphoria, which the final season had already been filmed years ago, and I've noticed she's not getting any jobs, and it's probably a direct result of her becoming one of the most controversial actresses of our generation, and people straight up do not like her. Why don't people like her? This all started with a jeans ad. So it's like, on the one hand, listen, some of the stuff you can control. Some of these celebrities, like Chappelle Roan, for example, they go out in public and they act disrespectfully and they act in ways that are inappropriate and they make themselves unlikable. But then you've got other people like Sydney Sweeney who've done nothing wrong and this hate just stems out of nowhere. Charlie D'Amelio's another example of this too. Like, she's just minding her own business, doing her own thing, out of nowhere, haters, haters, haters. It's like, on one hand, it's like you can't control it, so it's like trying to play a mind game. It's ridiculous.
And talking about, they were commenting on her, and she was existing in this space as a woman, and so from there, the next time when she was interviewed, she responded and she took it a step further. So this was in a piece for Variety, again, promoting Supergirl. She responded to the criticism and she said, I didn't even say men, I said people, she says, and they got so angry. I was like, you're proving my point, you're proving my point. And then this, because obviously this happens, this is where it got political. They went on in the article and said, Alcock even understands, sort of, where these base urges originate. With the world as unstable and terrified as it is now, governments don't have anyone's best interests at heart, and people turn to online forums to find that guidance. It just creates an unhealthy...
Now, see, you're on tour to promote your new movie. Why are you bringing politics into it? This is exactly why the movie flopped, this right here. Because even though the movie had absolutely nothing to do with the stuff that Alcock is talking about in these interviews, because, listen, something about Hollywood, and you can, listen, the actress who played Nellie in Little House on the Prairie, Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. There's a couple others. Some of these people get hated who play villains or characters who are just unlikable. A lot of times, these actors and actresses are so good at their jobs that when they play a dislikable character, the actors themselves are also disliked in real life. And the results of that is that people are stupid and they cannot separate. For example, you have to view Millie Alcock and Supergirl as two completely different people. Because Millie Alcock is playing a character. She's not actually the character. But people are stupid. People will view Supergirl and Millie Alcock as the same person. So when Millie Alcock is going on tour to promote her new movie, and she's unnecessarily bringing woke politics into it, people are going to assume, oh, well, Supergirl's woke too, and Supergirl's gonna be political, and the movie's gonna be political, and the movie's gonna be woke. We're not gonna see it. This is exactly why the movie flopped, even though it was a great movie.
Relationship with a person who will eventually and inevitably disappoint their fans. And then this was the kicker. Quote, I guess women know that this is just how it's always been, unfortunately. And it's from a lot of people whose profiles have no photo, who are burner accounts or somebody's name and then dad of 4 Christian, which is hilarious to me. But I mean, whose opinion do you really care about? If you're pissing off the right kind of people, then you're doing okay. All right, so let me just get this whole thing straight. You make a vague comment, a vague feminist comment, seemingly attacking the audience for your new movie about them making it hard for you to quote-unquote exist or whatever. Obviously, they are confused by that vague comment, accusatory comment. They take offense to it, they talk about it online, and then you choose to double down and make it worse. And you say that actually, it's about the terrifying world that we live in. It's because of the government, and then you double down even more, and you rip into the wrong kinds of fans, aka the Christian dads before. Now, I am not saying that all
Now,
of these...
why did she specifically attack Christians? Out of all people, why did she attack Christians? What did they even do to her?
Men are so peachy and wonderful. Obviously, there are people who have Bible verses in their bio and leave the most awful, atrocious comments and DMs. That is gross. This blanket statement saying that you are, it's totally fine to piss off the right kinds of people. Obviously, that is going to piss off a lot of people. I'm sorry, so the right kinds of people to you are Christian dads, the most likely millennial dads, the men who grew up on Marvel and DC, who are most likely your franchise's most loyal fan base and target audience. Those are the people that are the right fans to piss off. It's just dumb. It's truly just dumb.
You dumb person.
Like I said, if she's exhausting you too, then might I suggest mud water. Now, if any of you
Oh,
are curious
God.
about cutting back on coffee without...
This is one of the most annoying things about the Brett Cooper show is she fills it with unnecessary ads.
Giving up that morning ritual, then mud water is worth... Their original blend is a mix of cacao, chai, regular coffee. But if that is not your jam, you guys will love it too. So if you are interested in trying matcha or golden milk with all that turmeric, they're really...
My God, it's still going.
Clues. People were attacking her.
Okay, let me point something else out. It is so stupid for her to have ads in the middle of her podcast because you see how I just fast forwarded through the whole thing? That's what everybody does. We don't watch ads. We don't like it. Bro, having ads on YouTube or Spotify or on podcasts is got to be the stupidest thing. Because number one, if we can't skip an ad, we're always going to. Number two, shoving your product in someone's face and trying to force them to buy something that they don't want to be sold has got to be the worst business strategy of all fucking time. Honestly, answer me this. When was the last time you saw an ad on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your ads from and you said to yourself, yes, let me go ahead and buy that right away? When we all used to watch cable, because I don't think anyone watches cable anymore, but when we used to watch cable, when there was a commercial break, did you watch the commercials like you were shopping through a shopping catalog and make notes of what you wanted to buy? No, I'm not joining your broadcast. Or did you get up and take a bathroom break? these, especially when they show you the same ads over and over and over again, as if they're trying to hypnotizing you into giving them your money. This is the least effective way to advertise and market your product. Matter of fact, I would argue that you're wasting money on these ads trying to get podcasters to advertise you and trying to get YouTube to play your ads and so on and so on. Because you're not getting any of that money back. I will bet my life that not a single person pays attention to these ads, let alone says, hey, that actually sounds really good. Let me go buy it. Skip.
Looks, the movie, James Gunn, which honestly, out of everything, he deserves most criticism because he is a crazy person, but TLDR, the fans were mad. And then the red carpets started happening. The red carpets for this movie started happening during Pride Month. And people looked at these videos of her doing press and they were like, yep, this is how you kill a movie. Just watch.
And many fans have embraced Supergirl as a queer icon.
Bruh.
What do you think is about Kara that inspires that kind of connection?
Supergirl's literally never been queer. Why won't this? Supergirl has never been queer. I've never seen a movie because listen, Supergirl's a recurring DC character. She's got her own comic series. She appears in other comics and like she has her own TV show, but then she also appears in other shows. She's been in Smallville. She's been in the DCAU, which stands for DC Animated Universe movies like Apocalypse War and whatnot. She's a very prominent and supporting character. And whether it's her own shows or comics or movies, or if she's been a guest in a crossover episode or whatever, she's never been queer. They rarely explore her sexuality because, well, any superhero, DC superhero in general, they're usually not focused on a person's love interest. Obviously, superheroes have their most iconic ones, like Batman has Catwoman, Superman has Lois Lane, and whatever. Supergirl, they don't really explore her crushes, but she does technically have a crush on a guy named Mon-El, who, depending on what timeline you're reading, sometimes he's a villain, sometimes he's the good guy, sometimes he's like a mixture of both. But the story is always the same. She always catches feelings for him, and then it never works out long term. So she is canonically, even if they don't show it often, because Supergirl is more focused on other things than relationships and having boyfriends, she is canonically, and always has been, a straight woman.
I played a few characters that might have a potential queer through life. I have many queer friends, so honestly, I'm kind of honored. I'm honored that that's happening, but I think because she doesn't live inside the binary of what we think a woman should be, that is what makes her so special and so exciting and so new. And yeah, I kind of thought that as well. I was like, she would have.
It's so frustrating. I know that this is like a dead horse that we have beaten so much, but
Yeah, she couldn't even let the whole interview play out, and I honestly don't even blame her. I'm getting a headache just watching this. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit, bro. That was just so unnecessary. Oh, well, yeah, I've played other queer characters in other shows, so I guess Supergirl's a queer too. James Gunn needs to fire her as just for that.
As a woman does not fit into the confines of a stereotypical woman, like whatever they perceive as being this like feminine, soft, trad wife, whatever a picture of a woman is that they think audiences perceive. Because it's not what they view as a woman, it's what they think audiences think of her. Because a woman does not fit into that box, she must be queer, she must be trans. What if? Crazy idea. What if there are a million different types of women? What if there are women that are, softer spoken, who are more trad, whatever that means in 2026, who are more feminine, just like there are women who are badass fighters, like Gina Carano, who also, might I add, is also one of the most soft-spoken, sweetest, feminine, gentle souls possible. Two things can be true at once. Simply because a woman does not fit into the box does not suddenly mean that she is a gay, queer icon. It's like the JoJo Siwa situation all over again, where people started projecting onto her, saying to her when she was like 15 years old that she's a queer icon. She leans into it because she doesn't want to piss people off. I mean, it is just so twisted. Let men be men. There's a million different types of men. Let women be women. It does not have to be so binary, which again is so ironic because because they don't want to fit into my, I mean, it's like, it makes me want to rip my hair out. Anyway, that was just a bit of a rant, a little bit of an aside, moving on, because it does get worse. Because on another red carpet, it truly was like she followed the exact Rachel Zegler Snow White script. Just watch.
Discussion online about Clara's queerness in the comics. Was that something that you explored when you were preparing?
She looks like a fucking donkey.
Every time they ask you about being queer, oh my god! Is it that she's actually having a good time, or is she like, stop asking me this question because she knows that they're baiting her? We're gonna get into that later. I shouldn't jump ahead, but it's seriously like, are you this excited about every question, or just this? Responding in the way that she did with that maniacal laughter, it did exhaust me. I just have to say. So I cannot imagine how she feels right now. She needs that mud water. Anyway, just kidding. All right, here we go.
But in honor of Pride Month, as I'm getting all these questions, I don't know. I think that what makes this film so beautiful is that it's not centered around a man. It's not centered around love at all. If anything, but we'll see. I don't really know, but I don't know. I don't know. Probably go both ways.
Harbor Freight, built for two people.
Like
What's the next fight for you?
ads.
Degree and find out. Degree Clinical 5X, the strongest degree ever.
This game actually
Anyway,
tests your morals. The Mafia
This is
are
why
3,000
I don't
the
keep
other
up
way.
with Hollywood,
So
because listen, Millie Alcock is a good actress herself, because I saw Supergirl and Supergirl itself was good.
Recently on the streets.
But in real life, Millie Alcock's not
Let's
the
restart.
smartest
This
individual.
time, I'm cleaning up the city. No mercy for the cartels.
What even is this?
Incorruptible? Find out.
This Naruto mobile game is called the Dark Horse of the Year, even before it's out. Why is it so great? It's made by...
There's such an arc in that question. She starts off by being like, oh, it's so amazing. And then by the end, she's like, I don't know. It's not centered around a man at all. Just like Rachel Zegler saying, it's not 1937 anymore. She's not going to be saved by the stalker prince. By the stalker, she's going to be a leader in her own right. Oh my god, it is just so predictable at this point. And also, not to be offensive, but also kind of to be offensive. Maybe it's more of a place of concern. But are all of these actresses on drugs? Like, that's how it feels. What is it with...
Yes. Point on.
Like, remember Rachel Zegler on the Met Gala red carpet? Weird. What is happening? And now this, in every single interview, maybe it's not the drugs, maybe it's not alcohol, maybe it is just the face of young feminist arrogance. And that's what we're dealing with here. It's Hollywood, baby. Now, all jokes aside, to be truly real here, there is a part of me as I'm watching...
I will point out, okay, this episode so far isn't as bad as the Superman episode she did last year. The Superman episode she did last year was horrible. This one is actually more accurate. In the Superman episode that Brett Cooper did, she just said a bunch of shit that was completely, entirely wrong about not just Superman, but the entire DC universe as a whole. It was clear that she didn't do any research into what she was talking about before she hit record. Here it seems like, well, she's not even really talking about DC or Supergirl itself. She's talking about the actress, which so far she's 100% right in everything that she said. Now, I will say that a difference between Snow White and Supergirl is Snow White being remade by the wokeified Disney. The movie Snow White was actually woke. It wasn't just Zegler's fault. They got a brown Colombian actress playing Snow White. I mean, it's literally in the name, Snow White. Isn't her whole slogan, let's see if I remember this, skin white as snow, I remember that. Lips red as rose, hair black as ebony, something like that. I might be wrong on that last part, but I think I got the first two correct. Okay, so let's find a tan Colombian actress to play Snow White. That makes a lot of sense. Also, let's put her on substances and have Gal Gadot, who's known to be one of the most attractive women in Hollywood, play the evil queen who's jealous of this person's beauty. What? Sorry, what? Oh, and also we're gonna eliminate the prince and rewrite the story entirely because we've decided that we don't like men and we want everything to be girl boss now. Okay. I'm at a loss for words, okay? I've covered this subject a million times before. I'm not gonna beat the dead horse. Supergirl is not feminist propaganda. While it's not really male-centered because it's Supergirl, the character Supergirl has always, obviously focused on her, but Supergirl is a more independent heroine, and it's not because she's a feminist. It's just the way she's more of a loner. See, Superman is the more Mr. Boy Scout, very friendly, whatever. Supergirl is more badass. Supergirl is, depending on what iteration you're reading or watching, Supergirl always comes to Earth as either a teenager or in her early 20s. And she's very angry because, unlike Superman, she actually witnessed and remembers the destruction of Krypton, which makes her a very angry person, while she does become more kind-hearted later on when she gets over, like, her grief. In the beginning, she's, like, very angry. And the CW show Supergirl was horrible with this because it showed Supergirl coming to Earth as a child instead of as a teenager, and it shows Melissa Benoist's take on the character as basically an exact female copy of Superman. She's always kind, she's always charming, she has a no-kill rule. Y'all need to understand that Supergirl and Superman are not the same character. They are canonically cousins, and they wear the same uniform, but they are not the same character at all. Matter of fact, I would go as far as to say that they're polar opposites. So, in summary of this chapter, Snow White is woke just as the actresses themselves are woke. Supergirl is not woke, but the actress who plays Supergirl is woke.
This discourse unfold online, there's a part of me that really feels for her the same way that I did sort of feel bad for Rachel, because this young woman, she is young. She is 22 years old. I think she's grown up in the midst of this weird progressive internet ecosystem. Look,
I'm 22 years old, and I'm not R-worded like this person is. Not Brett Alcock. There's no excuse for you to be so dumb and peer pressure into whatever circus this is. Crap, what did I do?
Money moves fast.
That's not what I meant.
that's what we're dealing with here. It's
There we
Hollywood,
go.
baby.
We're back. Okay. I hate when people use that excuse. Like Andrew Tate will say, oh, well, Clavicula's young, that's why he does the stuff that he does. Or, oh yeah, that person's young, that's why they're like this, that's why they're dumb and stupid. I'm young. I'm literally 22 years old. You'll never catch me acting like these people.
Now, all jokes aside, to be truly real here, there is a part of me, as I'm watching all of these videos and I'm seeing this discourse unfold online, there's a part of me that really feels for her the same way that I did sort of feel bad for Rachel, because this young woman, she is young. She is 22 years old. I think she's grown up in the midst of this weird progressive internet ecosystem, plus with the addition of being in young Hollywood, she desperately wants to make it. When I was reading all of these interviews with her, the Vanity Fair one, the Variety one, she was talking about how she was so scared that she was never going to work again after the last TV show she did because she didn't work for 2 years. She desperately wants to please people. She doesn't want to piss off the actual wrong people, which are the overlords in Hollywood. But it's very similar to Rachel Zegler in that way. Also, on top of that, Rachel, even though she did say those things on the red carpet and she looked totally insufferable and crazy, she was being led by Disney. Disney told her what to say. They greenlit the film. She was in the film just talking to people about what she was reading in the script and what they were filming. Millie is being led by psycho lib James Gunn, and also that is just all both of these young women know. Whereas, just to give you kind of a contrast here, somebody like Rachel Bronson, who is also in the DC universe, I loved her in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I think she's fabulous. She has been around in this industry long enough to know how to respond to these baiting questions that could divide an audience, and she knows how paramount it is to not divide an audience. Just watch. This is on the same red carpet.
I feel like it's girl power, so that's why girls bring a different vibe, don't they?
Yeah, but there's also, there's so many men, young men, teenagers here. It's so awesome. It feels like there's something in it for everybody, and it's been awesome to see that kind of support.
I love her face in that moment. She was like, it's really just girl power, isn't it? She's like, yeah, there's so many wonderful of men here. Like, I just love her for that. She was saying, I see your question, and I am not going to fall into that trap because I know what happens when actresses fall into it. Like, that is a masterclass in PR. It was simple. She was, the freak.
Well, Rachel's also older than Alcock, so yeah, she does have her experience. Also, why was Rachel and, I forget the name of the guy who plays Lex Luthor, why were they at the red carpet? Because they were not in the movie. Listen, the only people from the Superman movie that actually made an appearance in Supergirl were Superman, Krypto, and then obviously Supergirl. No one else was in it. Like, from the Superman movie. We didn't get Lex Luthor, we didn't get Mr. Terrific. Why were they at the red carpet?
She's pleasant, positive, and pivot. She pivoted from the question that is the equation for dealing with this ridiculousness. Somebody reposted the video and said, see how Rachel is able to catch that comment about girl power and flip it back on its head about how Supergirl can be watched and loved by all genders? That is a move by somebody who has been doing these interviews for a very long time and knows how to expertly counter tough questions last minute. She knows that there are people out there who hate women, and instead of feeding into that hate, Rachel walks a delicate line of just supporting the movie for a vast audience. Now, the one part I would disagree on is I don't think she was doing that because she didn't want to feed into the online anti-woman hate. I think that she just did not want to feed into any kind of division, and she didn't want to give that journalist the clip that would go viral and could be used against her, even if she was answering a seemingly innocent, totally fine question. And truly here, the journalists are the ones to blame for baiting all of these actresses with these simply nonsensical questions. And a lot of commenters were pointing this out, which I think was totally fair, and I loved seeing that because they were not just blaming the actresses for this. Somebody said, I almost feel bad for her. She's asked a question where she can't say, no, there's really none of that in the character's history, and she can't be in any way dismissive of the question, so she has to give this non-answer. Again, you can't be like, no, there's no queerness in that. Then everybody in the film would be hung out to dry by that crowd. You literally can't win. Somebody else commented and said a clumsy response, but let's be real here. The problem isn't her here. It is the very obviously gay journalists that endlessly ask dumb actors about how gay their character/movies is, putting these virtue-signaling addicted retards in an inescapable for them situation where they don't dare say anything that may suggest the character/film isn't the gayest film ever. Pandering to these activist journalists is the entire reason movies like this do not have romance. Because they don't want to piss them off by having a strong, strapping man fall in love with Supergirl, whatever happens. But Hollywood never seems to learn that even talking to these people costs them money. It is anti-publicity. They need to blacklist every single woke journalist. Do not answer their questions. Hell, don't even do interviews anymore. Just make them book.
If I ever got into Hollywood, and I say if because I would actually never get into Hollywood, but if I did, theoretically, let's say I did get into Hollywood somehow, I wouldn't even talk to the press. I wouldn't talk to the journalists. I wouldn't talk to the press. I wouldn't talk to People magazine. I wouldn't talk to any of these people because they are stupid clowns looking to control the narrative and bait you so that you can get extorted and hated by your own audience. Like, if I was in Hollywood, I would just do my movies and go home. I wouldn't even go to the red carpet to deal with this buffoonery. I would just do my movies and go home. Oh, Adonis, you got time for an interview? No, go home.
Emotional TikTok shorts instead. Sell the movie you made, not the one these gay journals want you to pretend they are. That is the best line in that entire comment. Sell the movie you made, not the ones these gay journals want you to pretend they are. And sometimes, to be fair, they did make the movie that the gay journalists want them to make, but in other cases they don't, and you're just twisting yourself up and down to try to appease everybody, when truthfully, not every single audience member is going to like your film, and that's totally fine, but at least be honest about it and don't pander for the sake of pandering. But Hollywood is never going to stop doing that because they don't see the issue. Instead, they will continue to do what they always do when their movies flop or audiences get mad. They will blame the quote-unquote Christian dads, the fans, the normal moviegoers who just don't show up. And they have a long track record of doing this. Whether it is the filmmaker behind the Marvel movie The Eternals, which, by the way, was the lowest rated MCU film of all time. She said, maybe my film was just ahead of its time, and then said that it's not about us, the filmmakers. It is about them. And I say that lovingly because they have a level of...
Bro, everyone forgot about Eternals. Like, I swear, that movie came out and was never spoken about ever again. I know I watched Eternals. I never rewatched it. There's only a few Marvel films that I've never rewatched. No one gives a shit about Eternals, bro.
With how their entertainment and their world, their beloved Marvel, or their beloved indie filmmaker functions. That is the order of logic in their world that is being disturbed. In this case, we truly stepped out of the box that I think the world puts us in. We met in the middle because of our shared interests, and by truly doing that, it made a lot of people uncomfortable comfortable on both sides, but there are also people who are more comfortable with the order of their world being disturbed. And then they look at our love child and go, oh, this touches different sides of me. I like that. So I completely understand the divisiveness. I just, that is so bleh. I literally cannot take the condescending arrogance. Like I say that lovingly. They look at our love child and they understand, gross. Like, stop it, Hollywood. You are being so perverse. But the point of me saying all of that nonsense is to give the example that they always blame the audience. You know, have her doing that. You have Leslie Headland called part of the Star Wars audience racist and fascist. Like, the list goes on and on and on. But probably the most brazen of these examples, and I have talked about a lot of them in all my videos on YouTube, but the most brazen was an anonymous Disney executive that talked to Matt Maloney from Puck back in 2024, and he said,
If he's anonymous, how do we know he worked for Disney?
This was after they had back-to-back failures with Star Wars and Marvel, when he said, and I quote, everyone says, it's the movies, stupid, which is an easy thing for people to say. More appealing movies are a great way to jump on political issues, but more and more our audience, or the segment of the audience that has been politicized, say, they haven't been politicized, it's everybody else that hates us, they're the ones who've been politicized. Okay. Equate the perceived messaging in a film as a quality issue. They won't say that they find female empowerment distasteful in the Marvels or Star Wars, the latest trilogy starring Daisy Ridley, but they will say that they don't like those movies because they are bad. So make better movies becomes code for make movies that conform to the regressive gender stereotypes or put men front and center of the narrative. So he's literally blaming audiences for his failure. He's saying you are too regressive. You don't get what we're trying to do here with our, female leads, all the things we're doing. The reason why back to back all of these films have failed are because of you, because you've been politicized. And now I do think that he has a fair point in that sometimes, especially people on this like right-wing ecosystem, will see political messaging in a film and automatically say that it's bad and unwatchable. I think sometimes maybe they take it a little too far. Like there are movies that I enjoy that very obviously are made by people who hate me and hate my values, but they have great performances, the script is good. I think what is most important here is talking about the films people are responding to where the political messaging overtakes the storytelling, where you have political messaging that is so sloppily crammed in just to pander to one side of the aisle to make them happy, to pander to the gay journalists. That, most often, is what people are responding to, because that is a quality issue. Obviously, every piece of art, every film should have a point of view. Most of the time, because of Hollywood, it will not be my point of view. But if it is told through a great script, and amazing characters, and great performances, it's not so abrasive to me, and I can understand it because I'm a normal person that understands that people have different political views as me, have different values, and that's okay, because I'm still appreciating a great story, and I can walk away going, okay, I understand what they were trying to say, probably don't agree, but that was a great film. A lot of times, that doesn't even happen anymore because they're just cramming it in, and it is such crap. But no, anonymous executive from Disney, it can't be that. It's not that people are tired of these vapidly political, watered-down franchises and lazy reboots. It's not that audiences can clearly tell when you have not had a locked script, when you were reworking the script 1,000 times, even on set, it was bad to begin with. No, it could not be that. It's that we're not ready for your female superhero. It's that we are just not ready for...
And this is exactly why this feminist woke propaganda keeps failing. Because they make something and they don't even care about the storyline. They care about enforcing you to believe in this feminist, woke, liberal propaganda BS. And then when normal people don't like it, then the studio executives themselves try to gaslight us and manipulate us into thinking that we're the problem. Oh, you're the problem because you don't understand our message, because you're homophobic, or you're this, or that. Okay, maybe the entire world is the problem your movie flopped. Or maybe you're just a bad fucking director, or studio executive, or whatever your title is. Maybe you're just bad at your job, and you need to retire early, and you need to crawl into a black hole and die.
Give me a break. It's Hollywood, baby. I feel like I've said this 3 times in this episode, but it's just so predictable. It's crazy that however many decades into this nonsense, we are still doing this. I guess the summary here of this story is that, shocker, journalists, classic, are the problem, and probably gleefully allow these untrained young actors to step on social media landmines, and Hollywood simply cannot fathom that that could be an issue, just like they can't fathom that maybe some audience members might simply not like their casting choices, might not like the movies. Oh, it's the audience. Great. What's new, guys?
That's the end of it. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That would be like, say you went to a bakery and every customer that walks to the bakery hates their cake because it's sour, it's bitter, it doesn't taste good, someone's leaving with a stomachache. And the bakers go, well, it's not us, it's you guys. You guys are the problem. Our cakes are great. Like, do you see how ridiculous that is? Anyway, I will say this about the Supergirl movie. I thought it was great. I went and see it. Like I said earlier in this episode, I don't like the actress Millie Alcock herself, but I liked the movie. Like, I don't. So basically, I like her as an actress. I think she did good with the movie. I just don't agree with her political opinions on the matter. I don't agree with anything that she says outside of her television. Lobo was great. The movie itself was great. Basically, I'm not going to spoil this, but basically the movie was Crypto gets hurt and Kara, aka Supergirl, has 3 days left to save him. So she goes full on John Wick, no mercy on the entire galaxy. It was amazing. But my one criticism of the film is Ruthie is the most useless character in the entire film. And I'm not going to say anything because this film just came out, so I'm not going to spoil it just yet. But if you've seen the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. Ruthie did nothing the entire movie except weigh Kara down. Ruthie is the most useless character in all of DC history. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's episode. Thanks for watching. This is the Adonis Podcast.